The Clithari capital gleamed like a jewel in the void of space. Towering spires of crystal and metal stretched skyward on the planet's surface, reflecting the light of 3 suns. The city hummed with energy, a testament to the alien race's mastery over science and technology. Clithari ships patrolled the nearby sector, scanning for threats, their sensors probing for any unusual activity. The Council had long prided themselves on predicting every movement in their space, and nothing had ever escaped their notice. Yet today, something was different. A ripple in the sensor readings, something no one had ever seen before, flashed across the central monitor. The lead scientist, a tall Clithari with translucent skin and luminescent veins, leaned forward, her many eyes narrowing at the data. "What is that?" she asked, her voice calm but tinged with unease. Her assistant, a smaller Clithari with jagged ridges along its spine, replied, "The energy signatures. They do not match any known species. Not ours, not our neighbors. They are unusual. Very unusual." The council chamber filled quickly as advisors, generals, and scholars gathered. Murmurs of speculation filled the room. Some suggested it was a new rogue species from the outer rim. Others thought it might be a natural phenomenon, an anomaly in the space-time continuum. No one dared suggest what it might truly be. Meanwhile, far beyond the Clithari sector, humans traveled aboard ships that had seen centuries of harsh survival. These were not sleek vessels of luxury or advanced alien design. They were patched, scarred, and reinforced, built to endure the most hostile environments of their own Deathworld planets. The humans called themselves Deathworlders, a title earned from generations surviving against planets that would have destroyed lesser species. Captain Marcus Dane stood on the bridge of the flagship, staring at the display showing the Clithari sector. His crew moved with practiced precision, their expressions calm but alert. They had trained for encounters with unknown civilizations, but nothing could replace the instinct honed by life on worlds that were trying to kill them every day. "Sensors picking up activity?" Marcus asked. Lieutenant Arya Singh, one of the best navigators in the fleet, replied, "Yes, Captain. Energy spikes. They're organized. Could be a settlement, maybe even defense systems. We'll need to approach carefully." Marcus nodded. "Careful, yes, but we are not here to hide. They will know we are coming. Let's make sure they know we are not weak." The Clithari were unaware of what was approaching. They had always judged species by their appearance and technology. A species without intricate, polished ships could not be a threat, at least that was their belief. They had no concept of humans, who combined resilience, creativity, and brutal pragmatism in ways that defied conventional analysis. As the human ships emerged from the dark void, the Clithari sensors flared. An alert echoed through the council chamber, silencing all conversation. The lead scientist's many eyes widened. "Unknown vessels! They are approaching faster than predicted. They are not broadcasting identification codes." The council erupted into debate. Admiral Korth, a veteran of countless campaigns, insisted on preparing the fleet for immediate defense. "We cannot allow unknown ships to enter our space unchallenged. They may be hostile." The humans, however, were not immediately hostile. They landed on an unannounced asteroid platform near the edge of the Clithari sector. It was crude compared to the elegant structures of the aliens, but it was secure, functional, and perfectly positioned to study the sector. The first humans to disembark wore reinforced suits carrying equipment that seemed simple but was highly effective. They did not march with fanfare or demand attention. They moved deliberately, observing, recording, analyzing every detail. The Clithari watched through sensors and communication satellites, bewildered. They are not signaling. They do not speak in our language. They are strange," one scholar whispered, his voice trembling. The humans did not seek permission to explore. They set up monitoring stations. tested environmental conditions, and mapped the area with efficiency that left the Clethari astonished. Every action was methodical, calculated, and surprisingly bold. Small skirmishes soon erupted, not because humans were aggressive, but because the Clethari could not comprehend their tactics. When Clethari drones attempted to intercept them, the humans responded with traps, decoys, and clever maneuvers that left the drones disabled. The aliens expected defeat, yet every encounter only revealed the humans' adaptability and tenacity. Captain Marcus watched a damaged drone float harmlessly away, its systems overridden by a simple but ingenious electromagnetic pulse device. "They thought brute force would work," he said quietly. "They will learn it doesn't always." The Council of Clethari convened emergency meetings. Panic replaced confidence. No species had ever shown such resilience against their advanced technology. Reports flooded the chamber. Humans had survived environmental hazards that should have been lethal, repelled drones without advanced weapons, and even improvised defenses that countered their most sophisticated strategies. Fear began to seep into the Clethari ranks. They had always prided themselves on intelligence and superior technology. But these humans were different. They were not predictable, not constrained by alien logic, and not afraid of hardship or danger. The concept of acceptable loss in Clethari terms was meaningless to them. They endured, adapted, and pressed forward regardless of risk. Meanwhile, the humans continued to observe, studying alien patterns and behavior. They learned quickly, not just from their own experiences, but from the small mistakes of the Clethari. Every movement of the alien fleet, every communication, every patrol route was cataloged, analyzed, and understood. The humans were patient and meticulous, biding their time while the Clethari remained unsettled. One evening, a young Clethari technician expressed what many were thinking. "They are unlike anything we know. They survive everything we throw at them. They adapt faster than any other species. I do not know if they are intelligent in our sense or something else entirely." The lead scientist nodded gravely. "They are both. Their intelligence is practical, adaptive, and ruthless in its way. And it is paired with resilience. We have never faced a species like this." The humans, aware of the scrutiny, remained calm. They did not seek to frighten or destroy unnecessarily. Their goal was clear: explore, learn, and survive. But their very existence challenged the Clethari assumptions about the galaxy. As the first part of their arrival concluded, a strange tension settled over the Clethari capital. The humans had not yet made their intentions clear. They had not demanded anything, yet they had already proven themselves in ways that terrified the aliens. The Council faced a dilemma: attack and risk losses, or attempt diplomacy with a species that refused to conform to any of their expectations. Captain Marcus stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at the alien world. "Let them learn who we are," he said to his crew. "Not with words, but with what we do." The humans had arrived in a galaxy that had no idea what to expect, and as the Clethari realized they were not just facing invaders, but survivors, fighters, and thinkers, fear turned into respect, however reluctantly. The Deathworlders were here, and their presence would change everything. The stars outside the capital seemed to shimmer with anticipation. The humans had arrived, unannounced, unstoppable in their own way, and entirely unpredictable. And for the Clethari, the realization came slowly but inevitably. They had no idea who had just arrived. The Clethari capital was in a state of unease. Reports of human activities kept coming in, every movement calculated, every observation recorded, and every small clash handled with skill that defied the Clethari understanding. The Council could no longer dismiss them as primitive or weak. Captain Marcus Dane watched from the bridge of his flagship as the alien fleets patrolled the sector. His crew had adapted quickly to the alien environment. They moved with the confidence of those who had survived on worlds where a single mistake meant death. Unlike the Clithari, humans did not rely solely on advanced technology. They relied on thinking, improvisation, and an unshakable instinct for survival. Lieutenant Arya Singh pointed to a holographic map of the sector. The Clithari are concentrating forces near the outer perimeter. They expect us to make the first move. They don't realize we already understand their fleet patterns. Marcus nodded. Let them think they have the advantage. We'll show them they miscalculated without firing a single shot. Humans began exploring the sector more boldly. Small teams moved to key observation points, scanning the Clithari ships, their communication relays, and even civilian facilities. Everywhere they went, they left no trace of damage, no disturbance of order, but every observation was noted. The humans' ability to adapt and survive in harsh environments meant they could endure situations that would have killed the Clithari many times over. Meanwhile, the Clithari attempted their first direct action. A fleet of sleek, deadly ships moved toward the humans' forward observation point. The Council expected a swift victory, believing humans would scatter in the face of overwhelming force. But the humans had anticipated this. Using the terrain of nearby asteroids and debris fields, humans set traps and defensive positions that the aliens had never considered. A small group of Deathworlders, armed only with simple but highly effective electromagnetic disruptors, disabled an entire squadron of Clithari ships. The fleet retreated in confusion, unable to understand how such primitive-looking humans had outmaneuvered their advanced vessels. Inside the council chamber, panic spread. "They anticipate everything we do," shouted Admiral Korth. "Their actions are unpredictable. They survive in ways we cannot comprehend." The lead scientist, her multiple eyes wide with realization, spoke quietly. "It is not just their survival skills. They learn, adapt, and improve faster than any species we have ever studied. Their intelligence is practical. They are dangerous in ways we cannot calculate." The humans, aware of the growing tension, did not escalate unnecessarily. Captain Marcus ordered his teams to continue gathering intelligence and securing positions strategically. "We show them strength, not aggression," he said. "We do not need to destroy them to win their respect." As days passed, the humans demonstrated abilities that forced the Clithari to rethink their assumptions. When the aliens tried to cut off supplies to human outposts, the Deathworlders found alternative methods. They harvested energy from asteroids, recycled materials efficiently, and even rigged abandoned alien drones to serve as surveillance units. Every challenge the Clithari set before them was met with ingenuity and determination. The Clithari began to send envoys, attempting diplomacy in a way they believed would assert superiority. The humans, however, met each envoy with a combination of respect and clarity. They spoke plainly, emphasizing fairness and directness without submitting to alien arrogance. Marcus understood the Clithari's desire to maintain control, but he also knew humans were not meant to bow. One day, a massive Clithari fleet assembled near a strategic junction of the sector, intending to intimidate the humans into submission. The humans, though outnumbered, had prepared. Using environmental features, deceptive maneuvers, and carefully timed strikes, they neutralized several Clithari ships without direct confrontation. Lieutenant Singh explained the plan to the crew. "We're not just fighting them. We're showing them that their expectations are wrong. They cannot rely on strength or technology alone against us." As the Clithari watched their fleet falter, a sense of awe replaced fear in some minds. Others, however, were too proud to admit defeat, attempting increasingly complex strategies, all of which were countered by the humans' combination of adaptability and courage. The Deathworlders moved like shadows, invisible yet effective, their actions precise and deliberate. The climax came when the Clithari attempted a full-scale attack on the humans' main base. The humans, using a combination of ambush tactics and resourceful use of alien technology, turned the assault into a disaster for the attackers. Ships were disabled, supply lines cut, and communication disrupted, all without unnecessary loss of life. Captain Marcus stood on the bridge observing the aftermath. "They will remember this," he said softly, "not because we crushed them, but because we survived, adapted, and proved our skill." The council convened in emergency sessions. For the first time, they seriously considered negotiating with the humans on equal terms. Some younger Clethari scholars argued that humans were a species worth understanding, not destroying. Their curiosity about the humans' methods, endurance, and intelligence began to outweigh their fear. In a symbolic gesture, the humans sent a team to meet the council, not as conquerors, but as representatives of a resilient species seeking coexistence. Captain Marcus and a small delegation entered the chamber, their appearance simple, their demeanor calm but firm. The Clethari were taken aback by the confidence and clarity of these visitors. Marcus spoke plainly. "We did not come to dominate. We came to explore, to understand, and to survive. You may have the stars and the technology, but we have learned to endure, adapt, and thrive in any environment. That is our strength." The council listened, some in disbelief, some in awe. For centuries, they had considered themselves the most advanced race in the sector. Yet here were humans, ordinary in appearance, extraordinary in action. The Clethari had underestimated them, and that miscalculation had reshaped the balance of respect and understanding. Over time, humans began forming careful alliances with select Clethari factions. They shared knowledge of survival, resourcefulness, and strategy, all while maintaining independence. They did not seek to dominate, but their presence changed the sector. The Clethari learned that intelligence and adaptability could not be measured by technology alone. Strength of will, creativity, and resilience were forces of their own kind, forces that the humans wielded effortlessly. As the story drew to a close, the humans stood on a small plateau overlooking the bustling capital from afar. Captain Marcus looked at the horizon, the twin suns casting long shadows over the city. "They did not expect us," he said, "and they still do not fully understand what humans can do. But they will remember this day." Lieutenant Singh smiled. "They learned something important. Never underestimate those who survive against impossible odds. That is who we are." The humans had arrived quietly, survived bravely, and acted wisely. In doing so, they had proven what generations of Deathworlders had always known. Humanity, forged in the harshest conditions, could stand against the galaxy's greatest powers. They did not need the Clethari's approval or fear. They only needed to show what humans were capable of. In the heart of the Clethari sector, a new respect was born. The humans had arrived not as conquerors, but as exemplars of resilience, intelligence, and courage. And for the Clethari, the realization was undeniable. The Deathworlders were a force unlike any other, and the galaxy had underestimated them at its peril. As stars shimmered in the distance, humans prepared for the next unknown challenge, confident that no matter what came, they would endure, adapt, and triumph. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. When Deathworlders arrived, no one could predict what they would do, but everyone would remember the strength of their will.